KDPG Sunday Edition. Take a moment, rewind about 40 years. Around 1979, there was a frenzy of shopping mall construction. New shopping mall opening in the U.S. on average every week. At the height of that boom, a three-level mall opened in West Mifflin, complete with a parking garage, restaurants, and more than 200 shops. But what went up is about to come down. We learned last week of plans to demolish the long-struggling Century 3 Mall. It's tough to find a shopping center owner these days that's not either facing decline or plotting a creative way to compete with Amazon and everything else available online with a click. Let's talk about that now with two highly informed guests on the subject. Herky Pollock is Executive Vice President of the Retailer Services Group at CBRE, working with developers and retailers on everything from Pittsburgh's shopping malls to venues like PNC Park. And Don Carter from the Carnegie Mellon University School of Architecture. He served as Director of Urban Design and Regional Engagement for the Remaking Cities Institute at CMU. He was formerly president of the Pittsburgh firm Urban Design Associates. Gentlemen, welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Do you think that the developers, the owners of that property of Century 3 are overlooking any potential hope for the existing structure, or do you agree that starting over from scratch is the way to go?
I'm pretty comfortable that it's outlived its useful life, and the fact that it's 1.5 million square feet and it's just a behemoth and it's a dinosaur in terms of its appeal. I think that it's ready to have it repositioned into a better asset or better property and redevelop the whole entire area.
It made sense for the time, though, right? I mean, it was cutting edge back in the
Yes. But, you know, in terms of design, it wasn't the best designed shopping mall in the United States. I think it was very pedestrian in terms of its design. And I was just out there last month with two Italian graduate students who came to the United States to study dead malls, and I took them out there. And I hadn't been there for a while, actually, on the property, and it was like dystopian apocalypse now. That big parking garage is closed. And it is positioned, you know, geographically, there's a lot of people living around it, so there is also the possibility of redeveloping it. But maybe it's a mixed-use development this time rather than solely retail.
I think that's what the idea is. But the idea of going to a mall, of parking and entering and then spending a couple of hours or an afternoon shopping, is that still what Americans want? Because we are so used now to searching for whatever we want, an endless inventory, and not taking the time to go visit a mall. How are retailers, how are mall owners competing with the internet?
It's a great question, and the preeminent developers like Simon, for example, who own Ross Park Mall in South Hills Village, are now looking at ways to augment their traditional fashion-dominated centers. They're adding fitness, food halls, entertainment, experiential retail. They're trying to bring the mall to the outside and have liner projects in front of the mall. So South Hills Village, for example, and Ross Park Mall are both going to spend around $125 million redeveloping their facility to allow it to come to the outside. Restoration Hardware is coming in the North Hills, and a food hall, and a theater. That's going to change the complexion of that mall. And South Hills Village is going to have a liner project in the front with retail in the front and a Lifetime Fitness in the rear and boutique fitness in the back and experiential food and entertainment. And that's and local. What they're trying to do, historically, the regional mall operators did not want to have local retailers in the prominent locations because they weren't the best credit, they couldn't pay the most rent. Now they're looking to those retailers to augment the local vitality and become a fabric of the community. So they're reaching out to local retailers who want to be in those malls and giving them prominent positions to anchor the mall as well.
But some of these malls, especially in the outlying areas, can they reinvent themselves that way, or do they have to become something else entirely, like senior living communities or something like that?
Well, some of these malls have been converted to community colleges across the United States. Some have been turned into storage facilities. Some are just scraped clean, and other developments come in. So there's a whole range of things. Like in Boca Raton, a typical 1.5 million square foot internal mall was torn down, and in its place they put condos, an interior walking street, retail, and you wouldn't imagine that what was there was just 1,000 parking garage spaces around a mall. So people are doing different things. The ULI, Urban Land Institute, did a study called From Gray Fields to Gold Fields, looking at, they saw even 15 years ago, this decline of not only malls, but strip malls. And what are we going to do with all this gray parking area? And so the idea was to say, it's got to be something else. And housing is one option for a lot of places, or municipal buildings. We see a lot of that.
The other thing to keep in mind is that it's very important to retailers and to Amazon that bricks and mortar retail does not go away. Amazon, for example, just recently launched a project called Counter, where they're going to have 1,500 stores inside of Rite Aids where you can literally buy online and have your merchandise delivered to Rite Aid and pick it up there. So it's a boom for Rite Aid to have traffic coming in. It's great for Amazon to have the last 1 mile or the last 10% of the delivery accessible to the population. So it works hand in hand. And those retailers who have a great omni-channel presence, whereby they have a great online presence and a great brick and mortar presence, will be the most successful retailers going forward.
Shopping is still an experience for people. So even though we're probably over-retailed in the United States, my whole lifetime probably had more retail than we need, people still like to go to the store, whether they're going to Sephora or LL Bean. But a new concept has come up, and this particular jacket I bought at a place in East Liberty called Bonobos. And it's a new concept. What they do is they stock every item, one of every size, one of every color, shirts, pants, it's all men's store. And you can go in there, try everything on, see what really fits, and then they'll ship it to you tomorrow. Whereas if you buy it online and it comes and it doesn't fit, like Zappos said, okay, you can send it back for free, but then you have to do that. You have to put it in the box, you have to take it somewhere and make it go back. So retailers are, and the online people are trying to do this marriage between being someplace where you can touch and feel something and to make it convenient to buy.
Herky, do you agree that we're over-retailed? Are there just too many malls and shopping centers in Western PA?
I think we're different retailed. I think we're seeing an evolution right before our very eyes. You're going to see experiential retail and food and different types of retail. Don touched on Bonobos in East Liberty, where you can walk in. If Don wanted to buy this shirt he's wearing today in blue, he can go in and see that. And their back room is virtual now. Their back room is limitless. So what's happening is people are changing the way they shop, and retailers are getting very smart. So for example, Neiman Marcus and Barney's will not open up a department store today without having a restaurant inside. It augments their lifeline, it gives them vitality, gives them vibrancy, and it brings more people in who are having a great time. Restoration Hardware, who sells furniture, has one of the preeminent restaurants in each market that they go into. So it's causing people to rethink how they give a better experience to the retailer and the consumer who's there, and allows them to shop better.
Well, Murphy's did that too. The concept isn't entirely new, right? Murphy's had
Woolworths used to.
yeah. So I mean, to some extent, what's old is new again. I mean, you're giving people a variety of experiences in one place.
Absolutely right. Just those experiences are a little more elevated today than they were back then with a counter or a diner concept. Today, you're seeing hardcore great restaurants and great bars and great entertainment inside of these retail stores.
Well, the plan for Century 3 includes bike trails and walking trails. It almost seems like they're trying to urbanize a little bit, like what you would have in the Strip District or something like that.
Well, as you're seeing around the country, and Don can speak to this better than I can, there's a huge urbanization going on around America. People want to come back to the city. So if you can bring that city to the suburbs, you accomplish two goals at once.
Well, and not to be too much of an egghead about this, but people like to be around other people, don't they?
Right.
Is that one of the things that's driving the Strip District, that it's such a vibrant area? People want to be someplace where amenities are walkable.
That's exactly true. And, you know, just Herky reminded me of a project in Los Angeles called The Grove. It's a shopping mall, but it's an outdoor shopping mall in Los Angeles. They have a trolley in the middle of it. Nothing is enclosed. Every store is out. You walk around. And you see at the waterfront in Homestead, they have a little Main Street area there.
Yeah.
Most of it's big box world, but the Main Street part is where people gravitate. There's some restaurants, Barnes and Nobles there. So Lawrenceville, Walnut Street and Shady Side, downtown Pittsburgh, you know, our shopping districts still should be able to maintain themselves by the mix of retailers, especially local retailers.
So even though you can get something on the internet all alone in your underwear,
Yeah.
there's still something human about us that wants to be part of this experience. Like people who go out on Black Friday, they want to be part of the frenzy. They want to be part of the scene. So going out to shop is not going to go away.
No way it's going away, and actually it's becoming more important because brick and mortar is the impetus for online shopping. You can see that shirt, you can see that tie, you can come into the store and buy more online, but without knowing about that store, you'd have to find it on the internet. And to your earlier point, the Strip District and areas like the Strip District are becoming much more relevant because we're seeing an influx of new people coming into Pittsburgh from Chicago, Boston, New York, LA, who want a hip and cool urban feel. They're all working for those high-tech users who are trying to create that campus setting. The Strip District's the perfect place to do that.
Don, let me ask you, when your office at UDA was in the Gulf Tower, correct?
Yes.
Looking down onto the Strip District?
Yes.
Did you gaze at that site and think, it's so ripe? You could live and be so close to your office downtown and yet be in this dynamic neighborhood with all these amenities. Were you curious as to why this didn't happen sooner?
Well, we knew, actually, Jack Buncher, whose family owned the project early on in my career, maybe 25 years ago, we did a master plan for Jack to fill in all those parking lots, because we knew right next to the convention center, right next to downtown and Grand Street and Liberty, it was just 2 blocks away. And then the Strip District was still vibrant at that time. What we didn't anticipate, and I don't think any of us did, was how much residential development ended up in the Strip District and still going on. And that's only driving the retail and the restaurants. So it's really good to see that it's mixed use. And as a biker, I'm very pleased that we now have a riverfront trail along there. So 5 or 10 years from now, when we look at that, we're going to see, well, that was pretty inevitable. No, it wasn't inevitable. I think it was a combination of public and private investment, the population shift that Herky talked about, young people coming to work in the city, wanting to live in the city near where they work. So it's a really great turnaround story.
We're down to less than 30 seconds. What's the most exciting thing happening right now in your world?
The most exciting thing in my world right now is the urbanization of Pittsburgh. If you look at what's going on, and we touched on it today, our downtown is growing well beyond its natural boundaries. It's going to the Strip District, it's going to the Hill District, it's going to the North Shore, it's going to the South Side. And all of those areas are becoming neighborhoods, and they're booming with retail, residential, hotel,
Station
office.
Square, yeah, we didn't mention that.
Retail, and it's changing the world today.
All right, got to go. Thank you, gentlemen. Back with a final thought right after this.